Hey guys, my name is Montaigne, and today I want to go over what I consider to be the best and worst offensive operators in Rainbow Six Siege. This has been something that you guys have been requesting for a very long time now. The last time we did a video like this was about 9 months ago, and of course a lot has changed since then. They've updated, nerfed, and buffed certain operators, they've brought in a lot of new operators, and so I figured it was finally time to do another one of these styles of videos. And so to start us off in the S rank, the best of the best, we have Hibana and Ashe. There is not really a map or a game mode or a situation where choosing these operators is a bad idea. Ashe, for example, has probably been one of the best operators in offense since the very release of the game. Her gadget, for example, is incredibly versatile. It allows her to get around a lot of obstacles, barbed wire, trap doors, walls, and then when she's in the objective, she can take advantage of her 3 speed and catch the enemy by surprise with her awesome weapons, the R4C and the G36C. If all of that wasn't enough, she also has a very small hitbox, making her one of the more annoying operators to take down. It's for these reasons why she's always picked on offense. Like, there's very rarely a time where you don't see an Ashe on offense because she is that versatile. As for Hibana, she's basically just like Ashe, but she can take care of reinforced walls. She may not be able to take care of all of obstacles, like barbed wire for example, but being able to open up 3 different hatches that are reinforced is a game changer on offense. For the longest time, I always placed Thermite into this category because there was no other alternative to dealing with reinforced walls. We now finally have that alternative. And while her weapon only does have 20 rounds in its magazine, which can make it difficult for you to deal with multiple targets, it's very powerful, and as long as you can manage its recoil, it is honestly one of the better guns in the game as well. Moving on down to the A rank, we have Thermite, Glaz, Jackal, and Thatcher. If you told me a couple of months ago that Glaz was going to be as good as he is right now, I would have laughed because for the longest time, he was at the bottom of the list. He wasn't worthless, but he just wasn't all that great. Now that Ubisoft has constantly given him buffs over this last couple of months, he is honestly now one of the best operators. The only reason I didn't place him one category up with Ashe and Hibana was because there are some maps where he may not be as viable, but it's very few. And so as long as you're accurate with this guy, he's incredible. His smoke tactic alongside just being able to quickly identify targets because of his thermal optic makes him a force to be reckoned with. As for Jackal, the reason why I've placed him in this category is the same reason why probably a lot of people thought that he was overpowered when he first released. His gadget allows him to scout out the enemy, figure out where the enemy roamers are, and then take them out no problem with his awesome assault rifle. And while Ubisoft has gone in to nerf that assault rifle and now has slightly more recoil, it definitely hasn't been enough to just nerf him into oblivion. And so all in all, he's a strong pick. There's never really a situation where it's bad to pick Jackal. Finding roamers is really important, and that's why I placed him here. And then we have Thatcher. If Hibana and Thermite are important, well, Thatcher just has to be just as important because he's really going to be the only way for you to get into the objective if you do have one of those 2 operators. If the enemy has a mute or a bandit, which happens constantly, you're going to need some way of getting inside. And while you can use a twitch or a grenade through one of the drone holes, that can sometimes work, he really just is one of the best supportive operators in the game. Moving on over to Thermites, this should be really obvious. The only reason why I've dropped him down from S rank to A rank is because of the addition of Hibana. He's not a necessity anymore, but I'm never going to be disappointed if someone on my team chooses this guy over Hibana. He's still awesome. He brings a lot of utility to your team. Getting into the objective is a necessity, and that is why he is the final one for this A rank. Moving down to the B rank, we have Montaigne, IQ, Buck, Twitch, Sledge, and Fuse. The reason why this category is a lot larger than all of the others is because I find that these are probably some of the most well-balanced operators in the game. They're amazing at what they do, but they're not a necessity on every single objective. You kind of have to think about it a little bit more. You don't always need to have a Twitch on every single match. If you play as her, she's gonna do well, she's gonna be great, but she's not a necessity like some of the others that we just talked about. And so with that in mind, IQ has become one of my favorite operators in the game. You guys have probably noticed in a lot of my gameplay recently that I choose her constantly. Her weapon, the AUG, is probably my favorite weapon in the game right now. It's incredibly accurate, allowing to go for headshots, but also hits like a truck, so you don't necessarily need to get that headshot to take someone down. She has grenades, which allows her to deal with barbed wire or just flat out kill someone with it. And so just in general, she's just an amazing operator. The only reason why I didn't place her into the A category or even S category is because of her gadget. Her gadget can be somewhat useful if you want to take care of a Valkyrie that's outside of a window, or her Valkyrie cameras that are outside of the building, but more often than not, having to switch on over to your secondary weapon puts you at a massive disadvantage. And so until Ubisoft buffs her gadget, which may never happen, I think she's a solid choice, but she is not the best of the best like the ones that we just discussed. As for Buck, he's also very versatile, but the reason why I placed him here is mainly because I just can't deal with the recoil of his assault rifle. There are people out there that have mastered it, and I gotta give a big tip of my hat to them, because that thing kicks like a mule. That really is, I find, to be his only weakness. The fact that he can just open up a wall and surprise the enemy is one of the most satisfying things that you can do in Rainbow Six Siege. The fact that he also has access to frag grenades is just the cherry on top. Fuse is someone that I also considered bringing up to the A rank because his gadget is probably one of the most annoying things to deal with on defense, but it could also be one of the most useless things on defense if you don't do any damage. Now, that isn't true in every situation. If you don't get a kill, but it pushes them out of the objective room, which maybe will allow you to get on in and secure it, for example, that can be really beneficial. But at the same time, if you don't get a single kill, you didn't really provide anything to your team. Now, I know there will be people that will disagree with this placement. They think that he should be a bit higher because if your gadget does get a kill, you went from a 5v5 to a 4v5, and that could mean the difference between your team winning and losing. Like, that really shifts it into your team's favor. But the fact that he's not great in every single match, he's definitely not good for hostage. You usually don't want to play him in hostage. That's the reason why I think he's an amazing operator, but he's not a must pick for every single map and every single situation. Twitch is an operator that I've adored since the very beginning of Rainbow Six Siege, and that's probably because of her assault rifle. Her FAMAS is arguably the best weapon in the game. It's got the highest damage output, I believe, of every single gun. It does an insane amount of damage per bullet. It's got a high RPM, and its recoil is fairly manageable. You put all that together, you got a weapon that just destroys everything that it comes across. The only reason why I haven't placed her higher is because of her gadget. Her gadget isn't bad per se, but it's not amazing. It'll get you onto the objective in some situations, you can take out a couple of cameras, but it's no Thermite or Hibana charge. One name that may have caught you by surprise is Montaigne. For the longest time, this guy was fairly mediocre. Yeah, it was nice that you could gather information and maybe push the enemy if they didn't have C4, but because everyone had C4 back in the day, this guy was just an easy kill. And so ever since they upgraded the shields so that you are practically immune to C4 now, this guy has become a monster on offense. Now, I will admit that he is one of the harder operators to play effectively. I am probably one of the worst Monty players in the world, but I also have a lot of respect for anyone that has mastered them because it is a joy to play alongside them. Having them push on in, distract the enemy, if the enemy gets soloed and it's just a 1v1, Monty basically has a guaranteed kill because of his amazing hipfire accuracy on his Magnum. And while my opinion on him might change in the next couple of weeks because they literally just nerfed his hipfire accuracy, I read the patch notes just a couple of minutes ago, I still think that he is going to be one of the strongest operators on offense. He is something that the defensive team has to deal with, and as long as offense knows how to work with Monty, he is just a really awesome operator to have on your team. The final one that we have for the B rank is Sledge. Sledge has stayed consistently solid throughout his entire time in Rainbow Six Siege. I don't think he's had any major buffs or nerfs his entire time. I think they buffed his swing speed at the very beginning, but that's about it. His guns are solid, he has a really great gadget that allows him to move around the map very quickly and catch the enemy by surprise. He has grenades, and because of that, he is our solid final pick for B rank. Moving on down to the C tier, we got Capitao and Blackbeard. Now, I know everyone likes to make fun of Blackbeard, but I really do think that he's at least halfway decent. His gadget allows him to win firefights, and at the end of the day, that's a really key component of Rainbow Six Siege. I think the biggest thing holding him back right now are his weapons. His assault rifle leaves something to be desired, and I think that's just due in part because Ubisoft, before they nerfed his shield into oblivion, they nerfed his assault rifle to try to tone him down a bit. They never upgraded that assault rifle when they made all the other significant changes. And so I think if they slightly increased the effectiveness of his assault rifle, he would become a much more appealing operator and would be more in line with some of the other operators in the game. Now, Capitao was someone that I never was really all that involved with, even when he was fantastic a couple of patches ago. Now that they've nerfed him significantly, I don't touch this guy with a 10-foot pole. I realize that he does provide some support to his team. His gadget has a lot of supportive qualities to it. He does have flashbangs now, but the fact that they got rid of his frag grenades, they nerfed his guns significantly a couple patches ago as well, he just leaves a lot to be desired. Then finally, all the way down in the D rank, we have Blitz. I have left this one exclusively to him because I truly do believe that he is the weakest attacking operator in the game right now. I know there might be some disagreement here, there are some Blitz mains out there, but in general, he just doesn't do a whole lot. I'm hardly ever flashed by his gadget just doesn't seem to have a whole lot of presence right now, and he also just has a gigantic hitbox. Not just his head, which is getting reworked in the next update, so hopefully that will help him out a bit, but he's just a massive operator with what seems like to be a tiny shield. And so until Ubisoft gives this guy some lovin', I'm not saying that he needs a complete rework, but I definitely think that he needs a buff if he has any chance of being competitive again. But yeah, guys, that is about it for what I consider to be the best and worst attacking operators in Rainbow Six Siege. I did want to say that this is my opinion. You guys are able to fully disagree or agree with what I said in today's video, and I'd actually like to know what you guys think down below. How would you rate them? Would you move one up? Would you move one down? Is there some operator that you completely disagree with? Give me your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. But yeah, until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.